Okay, folks, get ready to dive into something pretty cool. Sri Lanka's IT industry.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's not the first place that comes to mind, right, when you think tech? But you sent over some info on RCS. They connect European businesses with Sri Lankan tech talent.
And I gotta say, I'm curious.
Yeah, it's interesting how Sri Lanka's kind of flown under the radar. They've been quietly building up this really impressive IT sector, and now people are starting to take notice.
Yeah, so let's break it down. What makes Sri Lanka such a prime spot for IT? And why is it taking off now?
Well, one of the biggest things is their workforce. Sri Lanka's put a real emphasis on STEM education. So they've got this young population that's incredibly skilled in things like AI data analytics, cloud computing.
Wow.
Oh, and they're all fluent in English. That means companies can access this pool of talent that can really hit the ground running.
Right off the bat. That's huge.
It is a big advantage.
Yeah, makes sense. So they've got the brains, but how about the cost? Is that a factor too? Oh, absolutely. You can find seriously talented developers in Sri Lanka for about half of what you'd pay in a major European city. And it's not just salaries. The whole cost of operation is way lower. So for businesses trying to watch their budget, it's pretty tempting.
It's like finding this secret stash of talent without emptying your pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
But is there a system in place to help all this talent grow? Or
Yeah.
is it just individual brilliance?
No, there's definitely support. There are organizations like SASCOM, that's the Sri Lanka Association for Software and Services Companies. They're a big deal. They connect the government and the IT industry, pushing for growth, advocating for policies, setting quality standards.
So it's like a stamp of approval. It tells the world, hey, Sri Lanka is serious about IT and we're ready to compete globally.
Exactly.
But are there actual companies in Sri Lanka making a global impact? I mean, it's one thing to have the talent, but are they turning that into success stories?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're not just talking about little startups. There are some major players operating out of Sri Lanka.
Like who?
Well, there's WSO2. They're huge in open source integration software. And get this, they were recently acquired by EQT. That's a private equity firm with a massive global presence.
So that's a pretty clear sign they're doing something right.
Yeah, for sure.
What other companies are out there making a name for themselves?
Okay, well, there's Millennium IT. They're now part of the London Stock Exchange Group's technology division. They provide the tech for stock exchanges around the world. I mean, talk about a global impact.
That's incredible.
It is. And then you've got Virtusa. They're listed on NASDAQ, specializing in digital engineering and IT consulting. They've got a huge presence, especially in the US. And we can't forget Cisco Labs. They're all about creating tech solutions specifically for the food and beverage industry.
So that shows how Sri Lankan companies are finding these niches in certain sectors.
Exactly.
It's really fascinating how diverse Sri Lanka's IT scene is. But I'm curious, when a European company decides to work with a team in Sri Lanka, what kind of challenges might they run into?
That's a good question. Things like time zones and cultural differences can sometimes be hurdles. Just making sure communication is crystal clear and that project management runs smoothly across continents.
So how do companies like RCS help to bridge that gap?
That's where they come in. They're like matchmakers connecting European businesses with the perfect Sri Lankan talent. What makes RCS stand out is their focus on long-term partnerships and trust building. Their partner companies in Sri Lanka, they employ their tech professionals full-time.
So they're invested in those projects. They're accountable for the work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It creates this stable, reliable environment where both sides feel comfortable.
Right. So it's not just about finding someone to do the job. It's about building a relationship.
Absolutely.
And RCS being based in Vienna, they really get the European business world.
Oh, they definitely do.
They can guide companies through the whole thing, from picking the right partner to actually managing the collaboration.
And they offer things like on-site visits to Sri Lanka, so you can actually meet face-to-face, build stronger relationships.
It's like having a friend who speaks both languages and understands both cultures. Makes things a lot smoother.
For sure, takes the guesswork out of it.
So, if we take a step back, what does all of this mean for the future of the IT world?
Well, Sri Lanka's really shaken things up. They're challenging our ideas of where to find tech talent. It's like a wake-up call that amazing resources can be found in unexpected places.
I like that.
Yeah. And with their dedication to education supportive policies and this growing group of successful companies, I think Sri Lanka is going to be a major player in the global IT industry.
It's a story worth keeping an eye on. Who knows? Maybe the next big tech breakthrough will come from Sri Lanka. I encourage all our listeners to do some digging of their own. The Sri Lankan IT scene is full of surprises.
Absolutely.
All right, that's our deep dive into Sri Lanka's IT scene. Thanks for listening, and and we'll catch you next time.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.